what's up peeps? My name is Reese Hester and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now I'm doing a little something different. As you can see, you may be asking, well, I'm not watching a short film or a little documentary I've done. I wanted to do something different because I know about the circumstances that a lot of people are facing right now. People are stuck in their house, have nothing to do. I know that movies bring people together, and so that's what I wanted to do for this video. And I want to do this monthly, not just because I want new content, but I just want to connect with my audience a little bit more. A few things before we get started. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. And more importantly, share the video with your friends and family. That would be great. So let's get started. First movie I want to talk about is Star Wars Episode 3. Now, May 4th was Star Wars Day, but I consider the whole month of May to be Star Wars month. I consider a celebration of Star Wars the whole month of May. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, came out around 2005. Without Star Wars Episode 3, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be a filmmaker. I wouldn't be recording myself, not necessarily recording myself for YouTube, but I wouldn't want to make narrative films like I've been doing lately. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I knew I had to do this. I knew I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. And it's not like I was like, oh, I want to make a ton of money. I was just like, this is what I want to do. And overall, I think it's the best movie out of the whole trilogy, out of the sequels, out of the prequels, out of the original trilogy. I think it's the best movie in my opinion. And maybe I'm biased because that was the first Star Wars movie I've ever seen. I really wasn't interested in Star Wars until I saw Star Wars Episode 3. So maybe I am biased, so what? Tell me what's your favorite Star Wars movie in the comments. And then what you can also do is rank the best Star Wars movies from best to worst and share how you would rank the movies in itself. That'll be good to talk about in the comments. The next movie I want to talk about is sticking with the sci-fi theme, and that's Blade Runner 2049. I saw the original Blade Runner on Netflix a couple of months ago, and I was impressed because, like Star Wars, it was very revolutionary for its time, and I appreciated everything that the director was trying to go for. I appreciated the visuals, I appreciated the writing, I really appreciated everything about that movie. Now 2049, I didn't necessarily appreciate the story as much, but I really fell in love with the visuals by Roger Deakins. I really appreciated what he did. All the visuals were stunning. I liked everything I was seeing. I loved it. But the story, I feel like, was kind of lacking. As far as story-wise, I don't think Blade Runner 2049 is better than Blade Runner. The one thing that makes Blade Runner 2049 a great movie is the soundtrack and the visuals. And I think that's really what helped the movie shine its brightest. I wouldn't consider it a sequel either. I would just consider it something of a continuation of the same story. That being said, let's continue on. Now, the third movie I want to talk about is Climax. Now, oh my gosh, I was so shook after watching Climax. I don't know what to think of it really, still to this day. It's just a weird movie, but more than that, it's a great movie by Gaspar Noé. He really did his job in this. He really took care of business. It really shows the effort and the intelligence of a filmmaker when they can make a movie in one setting. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and watch it. But be aware that it has heavy subject matter, man. Like the climax of the movie literally is like crazy. It's just crazy how he builds up suspense and horror just about a party. I don't know what to think about this movie really, but I know it's an amazing movie overall, and its madness is great. Now, next movie I want to talk about is Burning. I really enjoyed this movie. Visually, I enjoyed it. I felt like the story reminded me of Taxi Driver. Just the suspense of it. You really don't know who to trust in the movie. You really don't know whose side you're on. By the end, you're kind of like, well, that's crazy. That's something else. They realize that where they are is important. And I think that's a good job on a filmmaker's perspective when they know about their setting and they know the circumstances of their setting. And I think that's by design, because where they're at, South Korea, is next to a place people may call oppressive. And I really appreciate the filmmakers showcasing where they're at. The next movie is The Farewell by Lulu Wang. It just warmed my heart. And it's crazy because it's a movie about death and the prospect of somebody dying, a loved one that you know is going to die soon. How do you reason with that? It was just a heartwarming movie. Because of that, you really kind of brush off the fact of death in that movie. It's about somebody coming over for a funeral to prepare for somebody to die. But you really don't feel that way. It feels more like a celebration. So the next movie I want to talk about is Inception. Overall, this movie is great. And I say that about all Christopher Nolan's movies. I've seen almost all of his movies. And he doesn't make a bad one. And if he does, please leave in the comments if you think one movie has been bad. But Inception is just a great movie. Overall, just a great movie. And I think it's said that it's a love letter to all movies, specifically action movies. You can see it. A lot of the set pieces, a lot of the dream sequences are based off of James Bond movies or just Jason Bourne movies. Christopher Nolan did a great job with this movie. Tying so many narratives into one is very hard in itself. The undertaking of talking about dreams is another challenge in itself, because we can't explain dreams really. The next movie I want to talk about is not really a movie, it's a documentary. It's called Behind the Mat, and it talks about the trials and tribulations of wrestlers. Specifically, I'm trying to think, Jake the Snake's one of them. I remember they talked about Mick Foley and somebody else. But this came out in 1999, and if you forget about the year it came out, it's still relevant today, because a lot of the same wrestlers in the WWE, maybe in AEW, or Ring of Honor, or any other wrestling promotion, are having the same problems. It's universal. It really doesn't matter how old this movie is. It's a universal thing, and it's a universal fact that wrestlers are not superhumans as you've seen on TV. And maybe I'm saying the obvious, but it is the truth. I had no idea Jake the Snake was in such bad shape around that time the documentary was made, 1999. I had no idea. And then Mick Foley, you hear about him being the one person who takes the biggest bumps in wrestling matches. But it takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on the people who watch you on TV. You getting pushed off a cell 10 feet down. This movie really gives a sobering look about the reality of wrestling and the cost it takes to be a wrestler. Overall, it's just a great documentary just to talk about that. And I really don't know what else to say about it, honestly. Next up, I want to talk about Spider-Man 2. Next to The Dark Knight is considered one of the best superhero films of all time. This was before The Dark Knight. And there's not a lot I can say that's already been said about this movie. It's just overall great. Alfred Molina, Tobey Maguire, Kristen Dunst, Sam Raimi, the director, all did their job in this movie. It was a bigger undertaking to make a better movie than the first Spider-Man, but Spider-Man 2 blew them out of the water. And you may say Spider-Man 3 is the worst, but it's still a good movie. The whole trilogy itself, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, is a good trilogy. And it was just hard for him to do what he had to do on the third one, because there was so much studio interference. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bonus. We're going to talk about Star Wars: The Clone Wars. As you may know, the ending was a couple of days ago on Disney+, and I've seen a couple of episodes. The Phantom Apprentice is the episode I want to talk about. Oh my goodness, this flashed me back to Star Wars Episode 1. What a movie. And what an episode to tie in Darth Maul's character arc. Just overall great sequence of just action, drama. Ahsoka's arc is about to close after that episode, a couple episodes down. But you see how much you care about Darth Maul, which is kind of weird to say. Overall, an excellent episode. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is not movie related at all, but it's related to our artist, and that artist's name is The Weeknd. After Hours was released a couple months ago at the beginning of the quarantine, and I was excited as a fan, But I was more excited by the short film he released a couple of months ago in itself too. And I gotta say, this man, if he writes a movie, I want to direct it. I can see the vision he has in every single one of his music videos, but specifically After Hours, the short film, does a great job of telling a story. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna link that somewhere over here. I'm gonna link all these movies, trailers or whatever down below, because this man, he has a vision beyond music. He has a vision, and I really appreciate that about him. He's someone who has the potential of making movies if he wanted to himself. I'm gonna try to link all the movies I talked about where y'all can watch it down below if I can. If I can't, I'm gonna just put them down there anyway. But I hope everybody enjoyed what I did. I know this is different, but we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching. If you like this, please like and share it with the people around you, because I know it's a hard time for everybody. But even that, I just want to figure out if people want to see this more and want to see more of this. I feel like I can connect with a lot of y'all if we're just talking about movies. If you like this, please just let me know by commenting and liking it. And just issue your thoughts in general about what I'm doing right now with this series down in the comments below. That would help a lot there. I appreciate all the support. And see you later.